So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, patriots, gaytriots, theytriots, blacktriots, browntriots. Welcome to America's Top DEI podcast. Pumps, what have you had it with?
Okay, what I've had it with is I've had it with all the Trump propagandists sitting there telling me that Trump is the most transparent president in history when he doesn't release the jobs numbers. He refuses to release any studies or anything about the economy or inflation. He refuses to release the Epstein files. Like every single day, he walks into work and says, we're going to lie and hide shit from the American people. And then all his acolytes say, oh, well, he's so transparent. And I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind, because if you want to just say, we're never going to give you the Epstein files, full stop, but saying we're the most transparent administration in history, and Donald Trump, on top of having a big dick and the best makeup in the world, he's the most transparent when he fires people that don't have numbers he likes, won't release employment numbers, won't release inflation numbers, and then tells us he's so transparent. It's making me crazy.
Well, this is a part of the strategy. This is your fatigue and your exhaustion and your feeling crazed means that they are being very effective fascist propagandists. You just articulated the desired result. They flood the zone and make you feel like you're going to descend into nihilism because caring doesn't mean anything. And so, of course, they lie. Of course, he's cooked the books. Anybody who's been a student of Trump long before he has descended down the escalator knows this is what he does. He cooks the books on his financial status. He called reporters and said that he was such a great lay in bed, acting like he wasn't him. None of this is new. He's just doing this on the global stage now. And they are going to continue to do this every single day. They're going to get up and say one thing and their actions are going to be the opposite. And it's going to rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Have zero expectation that one day they're going to say, we're never going to release the Epstein files. They're never going to. They're always going to filibuster on every fucking point. All day, every day, all day long. It is the oxygen in which fascist takeovers actually come to life. And so this is going to continue day in and day out. And it's going to be a clown car with a liar, with all of these toxic people. The main thing I think that to focus on is the Americans that are celebrating the villain.
Right.
We're celebrating the villain, the guy who doesn't take up for the marginalized, the guy who beats up on the poor, the guy who beats up on the sick, the guy that doesn't, quote, love thy neighbor, as all of the evangelical Christians claim they want to do, as it pertains to immigration, as it pertains to healthcare. The main thing we've got to do is keep focusing on the hypocrisy of these MAGA Christians that wake up every single day with a mouth full of scripture and a heart full of hate because the gig is fucking up. Trump exposed every single one of you for the hypocrites you've always been. Wearing Trump merch is actually a cell phone. It tells me that you are an absolute piece of shit, that are a total hypocrite. Every single day that you wake up and you look in the mirror and you go, you know what? Jesus fucking loves me. And then you go out and you do the exact opposite of what the central character of the faith of Christianity would do. We have a crazy Christian problem in America. We have always had a crazy Christian problem in America. Problem is now the crazy Christians are in power. And we have always been an extraordinarily religious first world country. Other democracies have frowned upon us because of the overt religiosity that our politicians feel like they have to ooze out of their bodies. It should be completely secular. And so this is the final tug of this Christian nationalism, and they're tugging on and they're desperately trying to cling to this idea of having a Christian nation. And sadly, they have people that are radicalized via Fox News that sit on the Supreme Court. that want the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I know it's frustrating, Pumps, but it will continue all day, every day. Wake up, rinse, repeat. That is the desired effect of fascist propaganda.
You have to keep reminding me this is what they want so that I can like reset my brain, because
don't let it trigger you.
No, it doesn't trigger me, but it makes me think, are half of Americans this stupid? And it makes me like have a real judgment issue with these people. Like some days I have empathy, like the reason these people still support Trump is they're being lied to on their news. They're not being told the truth. And then I take that one step further and then I think, but they have agency. They could go find their own news. And then people that, there's polls, 39% of the country still supports Trump. I'm like, I vacillate between having empathy that they don't know and they're being lied to, and madder than a hornet that they are so easily manipulated and that the racism has got to be at the root of it. I mean, I just go back and forth.
Well, I mean, I think that you have degrees of MAGA. You have the cult, which is like 30% of the country. And then you have polite / country club Republicans. And they don't care about anything until it happens to them. They don't have empathy for deportation until the person who mows their yard or the person that cleans their house gets deported. Then all of a sudden they found Jesus on the issue. So there is a lot of willful denial engaged in Christianity, evangelical Christianity. And there's a lot of willful denial as far as being a MAGA Christian. And I always know that these people are the pieces of shit that they say they are based on this. There are certain conversations they will have in white circles and like-minded circles. And then when they apply a filter with a different group of people and they won't say what they said so freely, then you know it is willful. It is willful cruelty. It is willful hatefulness. It is willful denial. Because if somebody can censor what they would say, around their church group, when they can all just knee slap about Mexicans or black people and using the N word. And then when they're at a basketball game for their child or their grandchild, where there are black people and Mexican people on the team and they don't drop the N word, then beyond a shadow of a doubt, they know exactly what they're doing is hateful and willfully racist. And so the MAGA structures keep the stuff that you're talking about, bouncing from this to this. They breathe in that type of hypocrisy. They breathe in those type of contradictions. That's what they're used to. God loves you more than anything on the planet. Step out of line and Satan's going to torture you for hell. I mean, that's a day as an evangelical Christian. You vacillate from being adored by your creator to all of a sudden your creator that adores you is going to send you to hell to be tortured for all eternity. I mean, that's a total mind fuck. Exactly what Trump's doing to you.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it triggers me, because that's how I was raised and I've gotten away from that and I don't live under that every day. And it just seems like that's what is happening. It's an awakening. Mm-hmm. Trump is an abuser. I will stand on record. He is abusing this nation. He's emotionally abusing, physically at some points too, when you look at ICE, but it's emotional abuse. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And so is the Old Testament God an abuser.
100%.
And so it tracks that type of sociopathy kind of tracks. Okay. I think we shared our grievance today. So I'm going to welcome everybody to I've Had It podcast. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Angie, HBIC.
Kylie, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you all?
Excellent.
Okay, I've got 2 reviews for you really quick.
Okay.
This one is 5 stars. And they write, "These 2 ladies are truly doing the Lord's work in the most atheist of ways and showing the world how you handle washed up titty babies. I got my lunchmates at work to start listening, as we have been running our own version of I've Had It for years. And now we dream of being non-famous guests on the pod because boy, do we have a list. Anyway, thank you for being an island of reality in this ocean of diarrhea we are living through. You both are the absolute best."
That is a picture that I got in my head, the ocean of diarrhea. And wow, I can see it with my eyes. Very descriptive.
Yeah. Okay. Next up.
Okay, we've got another 5-star titled Love These Ladies. And they write, as a queer, multi-ethnic, Black American woman with a white Christian nationalist MAGA mother, these ladies are healing my mommy issues one episode at a time. These ladies are true allies. I call them my white lesbian mothers in my head. Keep fighting the good fight.
Wait, leave that up. A multi-ethnic Black American woman, a queer, with a white Christian nationalist mother. I'll tell you what, nickname, that's what name she went under. That's some tough shit. When you see, there's these stereotypes that we have about women being the kinder of the two genders and more empathetic. And when you see a matriarch figure be so sociopathic, it's really, it's a real mind fuck because
it's more jarring.
Yeah, it's a real, like when I see like Caroline Levitt, who has a child, Christy Nome, who has children,
right?
That you've had a child and then you cannot extend the vulnerability you feel after you have a baby and you have an infant in your arms. I'd never felt so vulnerable / alone at the same time because your whole life comes to a screeching halt and you have this infant. It seems like you wouldn't feel lonely, but I found early motherhood incredibly lonely. And I felt so vulnerable. And I've always been a pretty empathetic person, but it made my empathy even more for, I would think about like mothers in war-torn countries when I was holding my babies, like, God, how horrible would that be? Like, I don't want anybody to ring the doorbell, much less drop a bomb. And it made me, far more empathetic towards that plight of young mothers and how we are just through nature, the more vulnerable of the species because we have the young with us. And I just think it's a real mindfuck when the matriarch of a system is the chief officer of cruelty.
Yeah. Especially when you have a multi-ethnic Black daughter and you're MAGA white Christian. Like that to me seems like that couldn't possibly exist. But I know it does in droves.
Yeah. Okay, Kylie, let's do a couple of news stories before we welcome our guest. All right. Gen Z are returning to church in surprising numbers. Gen Z men are returning to church at an alarming rate in what some are calling a faith resurgence for a generation that's otherwise known as the least religious generation. New numbers supported by the Barna Group show otherwise. Gen Z men are attending church slightly more often than millennial men, marking a generational reversal. And here's the thing. I would need to know more information about what type of church it is. Is this a mega church with the prosperity gospel, which I suspect it probably is because there's all of this trad wife, overwhelming misogyny, which rises up in authoritarian regimes, and women at the same time, all of the policy that we have passed for equality in genders is starting to bear fruit. And all of these things are having a collision course. And I imagine they're probably going to the rock band, dunk tape, hellfire, damnation, horrible architecture, life church type situation.
Yeah, that's what I got because it's like, men think, white men think they're under attack. And so they have to go to the manosphere to feel good about themselves. So of course they're going to go to church because they tell them everything is not your fault. Women should serve you. I mean, I don't think people that aren't religious and haven't been raised around religion realize how patriarchal and misogynistic the Bible is. It is just unbelievable. So they go in there and they're like, you deserve a trad wife that submits to you. And it's not your fault you can't find a partner or a job. It's women's fault. So that's where my brain went. I don't know if that's true.
Well, I think a part of it too is a lot of these men can't survive in a meritocracy. And the results of that are happening. Like you see that, the MAGA administration wants to dismantle DEI because none of these fuckers would have ever gotten those jobs, ever, if they didn't have connections, weren't white, etc. All right. We could go on and on about this forever, but I'm super excited about our guests. Let me give you all some background. So Pumps and I were on our way to lunch one day and she's driving and I'm just like going through my Instagram reels. And this guy comes up and he is standing outside the Heritage Foundation with a bullhorn, motherfucking the shit out of the people that work at the Heritage Foundation. I mean, following them and reading them for filth. I mean, it was like, oh my God. So I show Pumps. And we went and he followed Pumps, but he didn't follow me. She goes, oh my God, he follows me. I said, oh my God, message him. I have to have him on the pod immediately.
Yeah.
So she messaged him and now we have him here on our podcast. So I'm so excited to introduce comedian and self-proclaimed CEO of Antifa, who once teabagged JD Vance in college, Cliff Cash. Listener, the hot book of the summer. Oops, I have it the wrong way. Take two. Listener, the hot book of the summer is now the cool book of the fall. It is, in Trump's America, I can tell you with absolute certainty, the best book that has ever been written. And believe me, a lot of people are talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it.
Everybody's talking about it. It took us one day to write it.
Because we're
on day one.
Because we took a cognitive test and it was book, write, done.
All right. Anyway, please buy our book. It's a great way to support us. It is a really fun read for the fall. Curl up with your pumpkin spice lattes and just enjoy living the American dream in dipshit Trump's America. This episode of I've Had It is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everybody knows last month was World Mental Health Day, and I would like to give a shout out to all of the therapists that work so hard and according to a strict code of conduct, and especially the therapists at BetterHelp. What I like so much about BetterHelp is I can do it in the luxury of my home with my busy schedule. I feel disconnected. I feel a lot of anxiety about the current political climate, and I just check in with my therapist, and it helps me so much. So big shout out to all of the therapists who are helping us get through these hard times.
I don't know where I'd be without my therapist. And what's so great about BetterHelp is their therapist match commitment. They do the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals.
With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally, and it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. Listener, this World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who've helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/hadit. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/hadit. I know you guys are going to think we're nuts, but every October, Pumps and I get incredibly excited about dressing our dogs up for Halloween. And that's why I'm so happy that Chewy sponsors our show, because they have the best, quickest delivery, and they are our go-to for making Halloween special for our little angels.
Not only that, Chewy provides year-round service. My dogs get so happy when the monthly dog food comes because they know they're going to be new toys in this, and it comes right to my door. It's fabulous.
Listener, this Halloween, make your pets be a part of the celebration. Shop costumes, toys, and treats with Chewy. Go to chewpanions.chewy.com/I've Had It podcast to get $20 off your first order. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/I've Had It podcast to get $20 off your first order. chewpanions.chewy.com/I've Had It podcast. The CEO of Antifa and world famous teabagger, Cliff Cash Comedy. Cliff, how are you? I haven't seen you since that Antifa meeting we had over the Portland initiative.
You weren't at the one at Nancy Pelosi's house where we drank adrenochrome. So fun. Nance, what a mess.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she's wild. She is wild. I have to say, I was just telling the viewer, the listener, that Pumps and I was just on like Instagram, and I see this guy standing outside the Heritage Foundation just browbeating the ever living fuck out of these dorky pink arm pussy pieces of shit. And it was like the most satisfying thing I'd ever watched. Kylie, do you have that clip to play?
Looks like we got another pretty boy Nazi fascist. Look at this soft-handed, pencil-armed country club fascist pussy that couldn't punch his way out of a wet paper bag with razor blades glued to his knuckles. What a fucking coward. Knows I'm talking to him, but won't even turn around. Do you like walking for a Russian-backed Nazi organization, Chad? Chad, I'm talking to you, Chad.
Okay. That is so good. Do you live in DC, or do you just go there to do that exclusively?
I don't. October 18th will be my 14th trip of the year. And I don't want to, I just, when he got back into the White House, which I really didn't think would happen. And it did. And I something kind of clicked in my head. I was like, well, clearly nobody's doing anything. So I guess broke ass, unfamous comedians have to go like troll the Nazis. I mean, it's the least I can do for the country that gave me $500 a month healthcare. You know what I mean? You gotta defend Uncle Sam.
And so when you go to the Heritage Foundation, do any of them ever say a word back, or is it a profile and cowardice the whole time?
B. So I March 13th, 14th, and 15th, I got together with some other groups, Jessica Denson from Lights On, American Opposition, Sons of Liberty. We had a pretty big veterans rally on the National Mall. I think we had around 5,000 veterans. Really good event. And the next day I took everyone to Fox News, and we had a big crowd there, and we marched that crowd to CNN. And then the next day we went to the Heritage Foundation for the first time. And there's a video somewhere of me standing on the roof of a pickup truck with a megaphone yelling at a MAGA counter protester. I thought that's what you were going to show when you first said that. But that was the first one. And then it has led to a weekly protest every Monday. So we go with noisemakers, like really powerful aerosol air horns, megaphones, trumpets, pots and pans, everything you can imagine that's really loud. And we just make a ton of noise while they're trying to work. And so we time that to where we're there when they're getting off of work. And at first we would follow, like one guy I followed all the way to the train station, which is probably like a quarter of a mile, yelling at him with a megaphone, calling him a Nazi. I later found out that he's head of tax policy. He's one of the people that wrote Project 2025, the big, beautiful bill. So I felt even better about it. But after we did that for long enough, I'm sure the employees complained to the head Nazis, and they now have black Suburbans that they are transporting the employees out of the parking decks into their cars. They have all kind of security. They have 20 police there every Monday. So we're going to switch it up soon.
I was going to ask radar ping from these guys that come in and out at all. Like, do you ever I have this theory that a lot of Project 2025, Christian nationalism, there's a lot of suppressed bisexuality and homosexuality in there. 100%. And so I have excellent gaydar. And I don't know, do you have good gaydar, and do you get a gay vibe when you clock these people walking in and out of the Heritage Foundation? Some of the videos I saw some Priss pant, sachet Shantae guys walking out of that Heritage Foundation, and I got a gaydar ping.
I got to tell you, the closeted gays, terrible fashion. The closeted gays will wear like some penny loafers with the penny in it and like cuffed khakis that still have the crease. It's real early 90s vibes, it's real early 90s country club hill figure vibes. I definitely think that that's a huge part of not just the Heritage Foundation, but the Republican Party in general, are these people that take rights away from people during the day, people who are brave enough to be themselves, while they go shame fuck each other at night and shut down the Grindr app at the RNC. I mean, I think it's kind of an open secret. I think my gaydar is strong. I mean, it's strong enough to where, like, as soon as I saw Mike Johnson's face for the first time, I was like, oh, you can't have skin like that with a lot of little semen on there.
Oh my gosh. We completely agree. It's off the chart. It is off the chart how gay
that guy gets lots of facials.
100%. And then he runs a conversion camp, or his wife runs a conversion camp. That's a huge tell too.
That's what I would do if I was gay. Yeah. So my first like big comedy special is called The Long Road, and in it I talk about growing up in an evangelical household. My dad worked on a pit crew when they still raced NASCAR on dirt, and my mom talked in tongues until she got dementia, and now she forgot that she feels the spirit. Either that or the spirit's like, well, she's not going to remember it. I'm not going to do it. But that was my upbringing, and I have a gay sister who came out to me when I was 15. And so I tell that story, and I also talk about trans rights and gay rights. And throughout the special, the callback is that Mike Johnson is gay. So anytime I reference any of it, I'll let the applause die down, and I'll go, what I'm trying to say is Mike Johnson's gay. And then it gets another whole round of applause. He's one of my least favorite.
Did you see the Grinder, not Grinder, it had something to do with Grinder, the guy on TikTok that went viral a couple weeks ago, and he's about to out Mike Johnson. So here's the thing. Here's the way I see the resistance towards fascism. Obviously, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries fucking suck, and they need to step aside, and we need fighters that know how to run their social media, or at least hire people that can run savvy social media. But nonetheless, the Democrats are kind of going through a transformation right now, and they'll sort it out. But then there's us, the podcasters, the comedians, the people that are online. And my opinion is these guys are the biggest fucking pussies on the planet. Could you imagine 100%. Being a MAGA man and navigating a remote control? You would go, oh my God, it's a Cracker Barrel commercial. Oh my God, it's Bad Bunny. Oh my God, this entire family on this show is black. I mean, It would be an absolute fucking nightmare. And then you'd get to nighttime. You'd go from Kimmel to Colbert, Stage 5 meltdown. They are such fucking pussies. It's unbelievable that they had the audacity to call us snowflakes because we care about human rights. Meanwhile, they literally cannot watch television at night without having a meltdown as they switch from channel to channel. And I just think it's such a layup to make fun of somebody like Stephen Miller, who is both unlikable and unfuckable, more so than I think Ted Cruz, who was always at the top of that list. And I just think it's such a layup. And I wish that leadership would, AOC has been doing it, but I wish that they would just start browbeating the shit out of them, because they're not as powerful as they emit.
The fact that it's being allowed to happen at all is baffling to me. Like the fact that there aren't people within the military intelligence community, the military community in general, former world leaders, former powerful U.S. officials, and people worldwide collectively getting together and going, we can't let this guy be in the White House. We can't let a guy who is clearly on the take from Russia be in the White House. A guy who hired Paul Manafort as his first campaign advisor, whose last job right before working for Trump the first time was to get a Russian asset elected in Ukraine, who was run out of Russia for being a fucking Russian asset. And guess where he fled to? You'll never guess. Russia, because he's a Russian asset. The guy's next job was Trump, and he did it for $0, despite owing Oleg Deripaska like $600 million or something insane. That alone, any one of these things should have ended this guy's political career. And it didn't, because the Republicans have defunded education for decades while pumping disinformation into the simplest and most vulnerable citizens in the country. It's shocking and disgusting. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just like trying to do something, because it seems that our leaders, or the people that we thought were leaders, are writing strongly worded letters and holding up signs on popsicle sticks. And that's not going to get it done. And these people aren't tough, and they'd be even less tough with the military might of the U.S. Armed Forces behind us, behind real Americans. That's how this should have played out from day one. But here we are.
I was just talking to Jennifer about, I get just bogged down with all the lying. You know, Trump is the most transparent in history. And while at the same time, we all know that's not true. And I just feel like we're going through a cycle of like abuse, like an abuser. He's like creates a problem, then he solves the problem. He's the only one that can solve a problem. And it just keeps going. And she has to remind me, this is what they want. So do you feel that way? And when you do, how do you get yourself out of that and motivate yourself to go back to DC and browbeat these Heritage Foundation people?
I think a lot of it is just like the good energy from my supporters. It's really, I read the comments. I probably shouldn't, but 95% of them are nice. And people are like, you're every day when I watch your videos is like giving me hope. I feel hopeless and your videos are giving me hope. And these people come to my stand-up shows and give me hugs, and sometimes they cry, and they bring me shirts and hats, and they show up to protest with me. There's an older lady, her name is Mary, and she's little and she's so cute and so sweet. And she's seen my stand-up like 3 times in 3 different states. And she's been to like maybe 5, 6, 7 protests in DC. And she lives in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And she's probably like, I don't know, maybe she's like 70 or something, you know, a little under or a little over. And that's who's showing up. That's who cares, is like women from like 50s to 70s, because women are so familiar with what it feels like to have your rights denied to you and taken from you. And I feel like women really sort of know more about what's at stake.
I think that after January 6th, we all saw what happened. And it was like, oh my God, like this is an inside job. The cavalry didn't come. You saw what they were doing. Total insurrection. We all know who ordered it. And then when Biden came back in and they were not prosecuted and that was not handled, and then he was allowed to run again, I think it broke something in those of us that care about democracy, that centrist, democratic, we're going to govern incrementally. We're not going to rock the boat. And here's what I think the fundamental problem is with centrist Democrats. There is always a deference given to patriarchal structures. Like even centrist Democrats are still chasing some sort of fiscal conservative, socially liberal voter. They're not saying, if you want to keep voting for that, you don't give a shit about people, that's fucking fine. We're going to grow the base. We don't want you anyway. But there's always this reach out by the system, whether it be Democrats or Republicans, to cater to a white privileged person. And the only reason that Merrick Garland didn't prosecute Trump was because they were worried about what those type of people may think. Will that break these people? And it was the biggest mistake. And Biden passed a lot of really good, robust legislation. He did a really shitty job marketing it.
Yep.
But the fact that he did not, and his DOJ did not prosecute Donald Trump, and he should have, before he appointed the person, say, are you going to fix this and make sure the people who did this are held accountable all the way up to the top? And that will be the biggest mistake, because it's so bad right now. I don't know that we make it to the 2026 elections. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm being dead serious. They are going to declare martial law. He's talking nonstop about the Insurrection Act. He is sending Texas troops to Illinois, and they are priming the public for some fucked up redneck civil war where the don't tread on me guys are not fighting the government now. I guess they're going to go fight for the government and the whiplash to end all whiplash. And it's just absolutely terrifying. But the biggest thing for me right now, Republicans are Republicans. MAGA, MAGA. They wake up, they lie, they rinse, repeat. Doesn't faze me, doesn't affect me in the least. Where my main focus is in the Democratic Party, who's fucking fighting and who's saying, I'm getting rid of corporate donations. I don't care if I get reelected or not. I want my legacy to be that I did everything I could do to save American democracy. And you just don't see that. There's a few, but the majority of them are acting like this is fucking normal and we're going to have midterms in 2026 and there's going to be a blue wave. And I'm like, hello, Are you not listening? Are you not seeing? Like, they're not fucking around. Stephen Miller is a fucking joke, but he's dead serious about everything he's going to do. And so I don't focus as much on what they're doing. I focus more on what the resistance is doing, because I have higher standards and a higher expectation of people who aren't brainwashed to step up to this and to respond appropriately to this. And because there's no appropriate response to all the shit they're doing other than they're fucking fascist morons. Move on, jump to the solution. What are your thoughts on that?
So as far as the resistance, I mean, it's out there and it's pretty hardy. We just need more people. We need more people to show up. And I think, again, the biggest message that could be sent to this country club fascist, soft-handed pussy Nazi administration is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 million people in the streets of DC while he's at historically low poll numbers, his 100-day presidential poll, lowest in recorded history, 200-day lowest in recorded history. The Epstein files is just bubbling like a volcano that's ready to blow. Gaza's a nightmare. Ukraine's a nightmare. Tariffs are bullshit. The economy's not good. He's flailing. And it's sometimes it's hard for us to recognize how bad he's flailing because all of the flood the zone, Steve Bannon strategy, flood the zone bullshit, where we just feel bombarded constantly. ICE is in Chicago and, Trump's neck pussy said something really mean today and whatever it is. But he's also losing like 95% of his court cases. His poll numbers are in the toilet. He's losing his base. He's losing support, even from the cultists. So right now is the time. We're going for it. Me and the groups and coalitions, the Removal Coalition, people with Flair, American Opposition, all these groups, we're banding together and we're pushing for November the 22nd to shut down DC. We're calling it Remove the Regime, DC Shutdown. And our goal is to just get so many people there that the aesthetics of it will be undeniable to the rest of the world, because Canada needs to see it. Mexico needs to see it. The conversation that the three of us are having right now, world leaders are also having these conversations. Former CIA are having these conversations. All these very powerful and well-resourced people in our country and around the world are having these same conversations and wondering, how do we get rid of this elderly pedophile in a diaper? And there's a way. And I think as citizens, our main job is to give the optics and thereby the permission structure for them to do whatever needs to be done. And the way that we do that is to shut down Washington, D.C. So that's my main goal right now.
I agree with you that the optics campaign is incredibly important right now because of what you mentioned, the flood the zone. And it feels like, and authoritarians do this intentionally, they flood the zone so that you feel overwhelmed and that you'll descend into denialism and not give a shit about anything anymore. And so many people, blue dots and red states, blue states, people that are probably triple trumped are like, motherfucker, I fucked up. He was exciting. He was kind of a nut. He was fucking crazy. And so I thought, fuck it, I'm going to vote for the crazy guy. A lot of these people have regrets and they have triple Trump remorse or, whatever. And I think that seeing something, whether it's online, shutting down DC, will connect us all, because during Trump 1.0, the Pussy Hat Parade, you felt the resistance. You felt it with everything in you. And there were a lot of other, always in New York, there's a lot of fuck Donald Trump. There's a lot of just in your face, fuck this guy. And more than anything, industry titans follow this. Mm-hmm. If you look at what happened with Black Lives Matter, industry titans followed this and then started DEI programming, which of course, the white guys that are unqualified that are running the country right now, the last thing they want is a meritocracy because they can't, get hired in that. So they oppose DEI. But the optics of Black Lives Matter, when everybody Instagrammed the black square, cascading onto multiple marches, multiple cities, raised awareness. Because I saw people that I fucking know are 1,000,000% racist. I know they're racist. I've heard them say racist shit, and they posted the Black Lives Matter square because of peer pressure. And I feel like there's something that we all can do in that regard, because if we can put pressure on industry titans, and we can put pressure then on some centrist Republicans that want to get reelected, that, they want to be in Congress forever. There is leverage that an optics campaign can have, because we've seen it with all other protests. And this Trump 2.0, I think when they didn't charge him with anything, it broke something in all of us. It really broke us. And so I'm hopeful when I see you doing that. It fires me up. And I know that when Angie and I are on our podcast, just calling them motherfuckers and pussies and pink worms,
I love it.
Everybody fucking loves that shit, because it's a layup to make fun of these guys. I mean, it's for a comedian, the comedy, it writes itself. I mean, Stephen Miller, are you kidding me? That guy. But I agree with you. What's the date again of your DC thing?
November 22nd. And so that's a Saturday. We're actually going to start on the 20th. But I want to tell you, so on that Thursday, we're going to lead people into the halls of Congress. A lot of citizens don't know you can walk in to all these Congress buildings. All you do is go through a little security check like TSA. And once you're in there, you can go knock on Mike's door and say, I want you to know it's okay that you're gay. And you don't have to keep praying it away. Just be yourself. You like getting pegged? You like getting pegged. Just come over to our side and we'll be nice to you. So we're going to do that Thursday. We'll have a different action on Friday. And then Saturday, we're hoping that will be the biggest numbers, of course, because people can be off of work. So.
Listener, we have to tell you, as women of a certain age, you get to the point where you want to burn your bra. It's just such a miserable accessory. Now that we have discovered Honey Love, I forget that I even have a bra on. That's how comfortable Honey Love bras are.
Honey Love's signature support comes from smart design, not stiff wires or bulky padding. It's all the shape and hold you want without any of the stuff you don't. Once you try it, you'll be like Jennifer and I and forget you're wearing it.
Honey Love recently launched their new Cloud Embrace bra, which sold out in days. It's a modern wireless t-shirt bra with sturdy, lightly padded foam cups that feel like a cloud against your skin. So listener, treat yourself to the most comfortable and innovative bras on earth and save 20% off site-wide at honeylove.com/hadit. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/hadit. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Experience the new standard in bras with Honey Love. This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You choose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. Listeners, starting your own business can be so intimidating and breathtakingly lonely. I can tell you when Pumps and I started this podcast and all of you lovely listeners wanted merch, we were overwhelmed and had no idea what we were going to do. Thank God we discovered Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started like our little podcast here, I've Had It.
Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product's photography.
Listener, turn your business idea into With Shopify on your side, sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/hadit. Go to shopify.com/hadit. Again, that's shopify.com/hadit. Okay, let's play our game, Had It or Hit It.
Oh my God. Welcome to Had It or Hit It. I would hit it.
Had it.
Had it. I hit it every day, sometimes twice a day.
So Cliff Cash, Had It or Hit It, Nancy Mace.
Oh, I would never hit a woman. Oh no. Had it. Sorry. I forgot to hit. You meant that with intimacy. I was thinking of striking. Nancy Mace is the worst person alive. I love that Nancy Mace is like, am I just supposed to answer or can I roast Nancy Mace?
No, go, roast her.
Go.
I love that she's so attention hungry. There's one trans person in Congress, and Nancy Mace just spent like weeks talking about which bathroom the person was going to go to. And she was like, I'll use any bathroom. I don't care. And Nancy Mace is like, stop being easy to get along with. I got to make some drama out of this. And she's just on Instagram every day talking about this. In the meantime, she wants to protect children. In the meantime, the judge that oversaw the Dylan Roof shooting case in Charleston, remember this kid that shot up the black church? This little MAGA incel. He's like, nobody will fuck me. I got to kill some people that look different than me. The judge that oversaw that case said Dylan Roof's family are victims too. And everybody, he got famous for making that comment. He's now, it's now been exposed that he is the worst kind of pedophile, like babies, like newborn baby. I don't even want to talk about it. But this is a South Carolina Republican. This other guy in South Carolina, RJ May, who is a member of the Freedom Caucus and one of these watch out for books, they'll make you gay people trying to ban books, has just gotten caught for child sexual abuse material and was fighting it and being like, this is a setup and then a week ago he pled guilty. And it's weird that Nancy Mace wants to protect the kids so bad, but she's not on Instagram every day talking about either one of those people. She's completely failing to mention with her giant cross earrings dangling. I also love that she went to the U.S. prayer breakfast. These are like evangelicals that call masturbating self-abuse. These are people that don't think you should look at your wiener. And she got up and gave a speech and she was like, I tell you what, I was getting out of bed today and my boyfriend was like, come back to bed. And I was like, I can't, I got to go to the Christian thing. And I'm like, how tone deaf are you? Because I grew up with these people. If you don't raise your hand while you're singing, you don't love the Lord. The fact that she said that in front of those people is just you have zero self-awareness. Totally.
I saw that too.
Had it.
I think it just shows that some people at the prayer breakfast, they believe that shit. They think the earth is 6,000 years old. They think Mary was a virgin. They believe that people used to live to be 950 years old. They believe that God committed genocide, except for Noah and 2 animals, and he floated around well. Some people literally believe that shit. And then there are the manipulators, like I would say Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, JD Vance, Donald Trump, who know all of that is bullshit, who know that is Iron Age magical thinking, but they know how easy it is to manipulate these people. And you know who else enters through the prayer breakfast to gain a manipulatable population? The Russians and the NRA. 100%. Those 2 entities are everywhere around the National Prayer Breakfast because they know where are the dumbest Americans imaginable and who represents them. All of these people at the National Prayer Breakfast. Okay, next up. Had it or hit it, JD Vance, who my official nickname for him is failed drag queen, smoky eye sociopath, Lil Smokey.
I think you said it all. I love that this guy, a week or so ago, he's on Twitter or whatever it's called, and somebody is talking about the bombing this speedboat out of Venezuela, and people are like, yeah, the dude from, I think it was a guy from Pod Save America said it's a war crime, and he said, I don't care what you call it, I don't give a shit what you call it. And it's like, why are you acting tough, dude? You have a volleyball face. Like, you have to grow a beard so we can all see where your fucking face starts. You wear mom jeans. Like, you are not tough. And the fact that these people have this steel wall built around them and this 24-hour security detail allows them to act tough. JD Vance is a fucking weakling who's changed his name 3 times. His real name's Jonathan David Bowman. Like, I don't even know where Vance came from. He was just like, I like Vance. He just, what grown man changes their name 3 times? And then he was gay in college. And then he's a hardcore Christian, but they're raising their kids Hindu/Christian, which I don't care about because I'm not a dumb bigot. But it seems like something you should address if you are a dumb bigot. I just think JD Vance is one of the biggest pieces of shit that's ever lived. A guy who has literally no moral rudder. I mean,
right.
He's on a recording bashing Donald Trump, telling people they're idiots for voting for him, calling him a Nazi, calling him Hitler. And my theory is that when it was time to pick a VP, somebody was like, what about JD Vance? And then somebody else goes, nah, man, he called him Hitler. And Donald Trump was like, he called me Hitler? That's so nice. Like, I think that's why he hired him. I think that was the decision.
But the real reason he hired him is because Trump wanted Peter Thiel's donations. He wanted Silicon Valley's donations. And when you dig into Peter Thiel, here's the thing that I've talked about. This is my personal theory. Think about JD Vance before he was a senator. He was chubby. He wasn't dressed very well. His hair was kind of a mess. Then he goes out and he works for Peter Thiel in Silicon Valley. All right. Peter Thiel is an out of the closet gay man. I get massive gaydar pings from Lil Smokey. I don't know what happened out there.
100%.
I know that Lil Smokey came back and he looked like he got queer-eyed. He was thin and trim. He had the beard, which is a much better look than the pudgy face that he had before. His hair's a lot more kept. And I think JD Vance queer-eyed the shit out of him, probably pegged him as well multiple times. And I think Peter Thiel said, Trump, I'll give you the money, but this is my guy, because here's what they're banking on. Here's what the oligarchs are banking on. Biology. They want Kanks. That's what we call Trump, short for Kankles. They want Kanks to drop dead while he's in office so that they can transfer power to JD, who they own and who Peter Thiel has queer-eyed and more than likely pegged, in my opinion. I don't know that that's fact, but I think that happened. I think that they're pegging.
I've always thought so.
I thought so. And so JD Vance cannot run a general election. He cannot win. Nobody likes him. Horrible approval ratings. There's nothing likable about the guy at all. He can't even take up for his brown kids. So he's never going to go far in a general. But the oligarchs, in my opinion, are banking on Kanks dropping dead and then JD Vance ascending, and all the fuckers at the Supreme Court are all about putting all of that power in the executive, because Peter Thiel's friends with this guy named Curtis Yarvin, who these guys are so weird. They've just decided, you know what? I don't like democracy anymore. We're rich. We can do whatever the fuck we want to. And we think it should be like this, but they know they can't win. So they paid off people like JD Vance and fucked him off along the way, as we have mentioned before. And that's what I'm terrified what they're going to do. They're banking on the biology, and then everything's going to be transferred to the worst. And JD Vance is a million times smarter and worse of a person than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is so predictable. Every day I can wake up, I know exactly what that motherfucker is going to do. He's going to talk about himself and his grievances and his decorating projects. That's the list. That's the list all day, every day. JD Vance is a little foot soldier, or should I say ass soldier, for these demon queens and DL demon queens. Sorry, Pops.
I think Mike Johnson's wife probably prayed the gay away for JD. So it's probably good now. Yeah, I think Peter Thiel totally groomed him in every sense of the word.
I do too.
And I think he's bankrolled his entire existence. JD Vance wouldn't be anything without Peter Thiel. And yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. And, you know, it's just a whole nother rabbit hole, the whole Kurdish Yarvin thing. And like, they worship this guy like he's Yoda. And like, best I can tell, he's pretty unimpressive. I mean, he's kind of a rich kid that did some rich kid shit. And he like thinks he's a modern day, less altruistic Plato, but he's just a dipshit who talks a lot and writes it down. Like, I don't think he seems smart. I don't think he seems particularly successful. And it's kind of fascinating that they all worship him. I'm curious to know how or why, but I think JD Vance, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Stephen Miller, Russell Vaught, maybe Kevin Roberts of Heritage Foundation. I think those are truly the most dangerous men in the United States. And I don't just think, I've said this for a very long time, which is why I formed the DonaldLovesVladimir.com website. I do think Donald Trump is a Russian asset.
I do too.
I'm not saying that I think he's like a spy and he has a spy phone and he's able to do really top secret shit, because he's not smart enough for that.
Right.
But he is on the take. And I'm just going to plant this seed for the viewers, and I can only say what I can say. A lot of people think that what the Russians have on Donald Trump is P tapes.
Yeah.
And it's not. It is something that has P and T in it, but it's not P tapes. It's a man named Paul Tatum. And everyone should research him. And I'm telling you that is what the Russians have on Donald Trump is Paul Tatum. Rest in peace, Paul Tatum. And Mike Johnson wasn't misspeaking when he said that Donald Trump was an informant. Donald Trump was an informant, and you don't become an informant by being a Jesus bald eagle patriot man. You become an informant when your other option is prison, is life in prison. And Donald Trump's other option was life in prison. And that's why he became an informant. And it's one of the many reasons he doesn't want people to see the Epstein files, because he wasn't an informant because he's a good guy. He was an informant because he's a very fucking bad guy. But I think that these guys are all also connected to Russia, which is so pitiful to me, because here's another small man acting big, a weak man acting strong. Vladimir Putin is another fucking mental midget. He's a weakling. His country hates him. The inflation is through the roof. It's a 20-something%. Unemployment is through the roof. Alcoholism is through the roof. It is a failing economy. It's a military economy that can't even succeed at that. They can't even beat this tiny country, even after we've clearly stopped helping them. And he's having to borrow troops from North Korea to fight his wars because none of his people want to fight for him. And many of them already fled the country to avoid fighting for him. And that's who we're letting dictate our country, is this fucking loser, this little person, this little 5'7" elderly fucking Russian loser. It's like, it's one thing to bow down to some dictator, but don't bow down to this pussy who, it's like, it's so embarrassing. But all of this is happening with Musk and Thiel and all these other country club incels. It's all happening in the greater context of the BRICS nations. We aren't just becoming beholden to Russia. We're becoming beholden to Russia, which is the most obvious one. But the whole BRICS nations, they are repositioning the country to align us with all these dangerous and destructive entities around the world instead of all the democracies around the world. And we'll see what those democracies are willing and able to do about it. I think it could possibly come down to that. But if you look at all these decisions, things that benefit Brazil and South Africa and China and India, these are the BRICS nations. I mean, everything we are now doing is to benefit our new friends, which are, and to see all these dirt road dipshit dollar store rednecks pretend that they're patriots while they lick Russian boots and enable further superiority of China is just so gross and pitiful.
Okay, had it or hit it, Bad Bunny.
Hit it. I mean, I don't necessarily want to actually hit it, but I think he's great. I think anyone that's pissing off the Nazis is my friend.
That's the way I am. I was never a Swiftie until Donald Trump tweeted, totally. I hate Taylor Swift, and I was a full-blown Swiftie immediately.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to some Bad Bunny music. One of the things that I love, I'll occasionally see a post about him, and cause I don't know much about him. I'm kind of like old guy now. I like what I like. I listen to the same music. I think they call it stomp and holler. I listen to like old rap. But Bad Bunny, I'll see a post about him, and all the comments are these MAGA simpletons, and they're like, send him back to his country and revoke his green card and deport him. And it's like, dude, he's a U.S. citizen, you dumb bastard. And that's another thing. I think Democrats, when we are back in power after the Civil War, Puerto Rico deserves to vote. And let's just move on from this. Let's maybe get rid of the Electoral College.
Agree.
Let's restructure
term limits
the
for
whole
Supreme
thing.
Court justices, oversight committee for justices.
Let's make it a felony to knowingly lie on network television or on a large social media platform. Like, because these people, I mean, in the last 3 weeks, Brian Kilmeade says homeless people should be euthanized, and then Jesse Waters says we should bomb the UN, and they don't nothing, like no threat of losing a job, no suspension, no anything, and then Jimmy Kimmel says that maybe Charlie Kirk shooter was really MAGA and he loses his job, luckily only for a day or two. But that's what these people are doing. Heritage Foundation is doing it to me right now. They have taken a photo of me protesting out in front of Heritage Foundation wearing a hoodie that I designed on Canva. It's not real high tech. And it's called the John Brown Hunting Club. It's just a shirt. But, John Brown was an abolitionist, and I admire him. He did what he had to do. I'm a big anti-racist guy. So it says John Brown Hunting Club, no quarter for Nazis. And they took that, a picture of me, and then a picture of some flyer with different colors, different font, different everything, called John Brown Club, that some flyer that's being handed out at Georgetown University that says, it's got the little tagline from the Charlie Kirk thing, "Hey, fascists, catch." And it says, "We're the only group that celebrates when Nazis die." And it's got a QR code and it says, join John Brown Club. And it's like different words, different colors, different font. Like, they know it's not me, but they are trying to scare me by putting my picture and my name up there, saying that I'm the organizer of Flair. And I'm not. I'm a friend of Flair. I'm a big supporter. I didn't organize it. And saying that I'm putting out this, because they know that these incels will get really mad at me for any Charlie Kirk related stuff, even though Charlie Kirk would let them.
Here's the thing. We need to talk about this, and then we got to go. We're going to time out. But here's the thing. I think if Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter, the evidence is that he is MAGA. The evidence is not that he is some leftist. The fact that if indeed he had a trans person with whom he was in relationship with, that further exacerbates the MAGA claim, because otherwise he would be an out of the closet, functioning person that's in a relationship. And here's the thing. We haven't seen anything. We haven't heard anything. I don't believe jack shit that Cash, Crazy Eye, Patel has to say. I think they cook the books. I think they find a bullet and they're like, anti-fascist.
I like gay. Why does this bullet say I like gays on it? They just know how dumb their base is. Their base thinks that an elderly pedophile can get hit in the ear with an AR-15 round and it'll regrow in 3 days. They're not smart. And these are people that say they love guns. You don't love them enough to understand how they work, you dumb motherfucker.
It's just, it's insane. But I want to encourage all of our listeners, if you need to feel like somebody's fighting and you just feel overwhelmed during the day, what's your Instagram? Cliff Cash Comedy?
Cliff Cash Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
TikTok?
I got banned from TikTok for telling the truth too many times.
Oh, that's a badge of honor. But anyway,
Yeah.
go follow him, you guys. It's so good. Pumps and I went down the rabbit hole, and that bit about him saying Mike Johnson is gay and always
It's
returning to
hilarious.
it, that's on. You will be in tears. It's so satisfying. And it's a very important reminder of why comedy is so important, why comedy is so American, and why MAGA hates it so fucking much is because Cliff fucking rips the shit out of these people. And it is hilarious. Cliff Cash, thank you so much. Please reach back out to us. Maybe we'll try to make it to DC for your event.
That's one of the things we're pushing is like getting as many influencers there as possible. And we want to make marketing videos that are like 30 influencers in one video saying, I'm going to be in DC, join me. I'm going to be in DC, join me. And getting people to use their following to pull people out. Everybody has a different reason that they'll come. Some people will come because they're veterans and veterans groups are asking them to. Some people will come because they love you guys so much and they want a chance to hear you speak.
I mean, let's face it. What's not to love?
I love it. I mean, when I first found,
I've had it broad. It's going to be a fucking barn burner line around the fucking White House.
I'm all about it.
Pumps will even threaten to show her sagging dragons. And I tell you what, I think the whole damn country.
I'll flash everybody my boobs.
What is it? The shaved husky?
Oh, her Siberian husky.
No, when I first saw you guys on TikTok, I was like, what is this? And I say this all the time. I'm in Florida right now. By the way, I would never have wallpaper at the top of my wall. Okay. I want to be really clear about that.
I'm so glad you said that.
I'm in a shitty quality inn. And I have more in my checking account than I have in a long time, but still not enough to not stay in a shitty quality inn. I'm a baller on a budget, very frugal. But the first time I saw you guys, I was like, ooh, this is refreshing because my favorite people are liberal Southerners.
I do think it's so important to never forget all of the blue dots in red states, because I agree with you. We're built different. And you don't just get to walk outside and breathe the liberal air. You got to fucking search for any. And what people don't understand is if you live in a red state, you have a regressive conversation every single day.
Yeah.
You have regressive conversations with people. And it's so stunting to try to have a conversation about progress when people are so emotionally stunted. But Cliff Cash, we could talk to you forever. Thank you so much for bringing your grievances and your comedy to I've Had It, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you for using your voices the way you do. I truly admire you and appreciate you.
All right. Bye, Cliff.
Bye. I love him.
I just love Cliff Cash. He's so funny.
You know what I loved? I mean, it's just so nice when you talk to people. Like we talk to each other, we talk into the podcast, the podcast air. JD Vance, he completely gets a gaydar ping. Mike Johnson, like we're not just bullshitting people. It's a pattern of behavior. These people are mean and hypocritical because of what they do in their own lives. And then other people from other parts of the world get it. That makes me like, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pumps, I have to tell you, a lot of people were on the JD Vance, Mike Johnson being gay thing long before we were.
No, I know. Yeah. I'm not saying we invented it.
Right. It is outside of MAGA world. It's a pretty large consensus that there is a lot of DL demon stuff, and always been the consensus within, when you look at the Republican Party at large, you have a lot of emotionally stunted, sexually repressed, Bible thumping individuals that are horrifically ashamed of feeling lust or normal attraction to somebody of the same sex or opposite sex or whatever. And so, I think he is hilarious. I love the work he's doing. I love that he's not just a comedian, but that he is out really trying to make a difference. And I really agree with him on the optics stuff. I feel like there has to be a major push from progressive causes to push the politicians that we do have to fight and push the titans of industry to understand that we are your customer base. Big blue cities, that's where all the money is. Those are the economic hubs. All right. Tell them about our book.
Okay. So the It Book of the Fall right here, you can get it on audiobook or you can order it. And Kylie has pinned the link in the show notes, and we will see you next Tuesday and Thursday.
I'll tell you what I've had it with. Let's hear it. I've had it with that.
Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcast, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw!
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw!
That's it. That's
Caw-caw!
the patriotism that this country needs right there.